Hello, Mr. Burrell here. We're just starting Unit 8. We're talking a lot about graphing in this unit today. We're just going to do a brief introduction to what graphing is. Specifically, we're going to graph from tables and equations. So by the end of today, hopefully, by the end of this lesson, you'll be able to plot points on a graph, sketch a graph given a table of values, sketch a graph given a table of values, and sketch a graph given an equation. Those are the objectives I hope that you're able to accomplish at the end of this video. So, hopefully nothing in this is completely 100% new information. A lot of this you should have kind of been exposed to before, but I review this because if we don't got this down, then everything else is going to be way harder and way more difficult. So, a reminder, this right here is an XY coordinate plane, where X is going in the horizontal direction and Y is going in the vertical direction, or X is going left to right, Y is going up and down. X's coordinates are horizontal, Y coordinates are vertical, like I just said. A coordinate point is something like this. So if I give you two numbers in parentheses separated by a comma, it's usually denoting a point on this coordinate grid, or a point on this graph, where the X coordinate comes first and the Y coordinate comes second. Because X comes before Y in the alphabet, X is going to come before Y in this coordinate point. So for example, the point 3, 4 would be 3 points, or 3 in the X direction, 4 in the Y direction. That's how I plot a point on my graph. The origin of this coordinate plane is the very center of the graph at 0, 0. So 0 in the X direction, 0 in the Y direction, we call that the origin. And then the quadrants, you may have heard this term before, the quadrants of a coordinate plane are labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, starting in this upper right-hand corner and rotating counterclockwise. So this is quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. So we won't refer to these quadrants a whole lot, but throughout your math experience, sometimes they'll identify parts of the graph in this way. Quadrant 1, quadrant 4, the origin, and through these coordinate points. So I think that's good basis information to have. Okay, so if you were to label these points on this graph, this is how it would go. So say point A is 2, 2, so I go 2 in the X direction and 2 in the Y direction. So this would be point A. If you want to pause the video right now and plot the rest of this points, make sure that we're on the right track, you can do that. Point B is going to be 5 in the X direction, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and negative 3 in the Y direction, or down 3. This would be B. C is going to be negative 4 in the X direction, down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the Y direction. D is going to be negative 5 in the X direction, 6 in the Y direction. E is, that's D. E is 0 in the X direction, 6 in the Y direction, that's E. And then F is 8 in the X direction, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in the X direction, 0 in the Y direction, that's point F. So your graph should look something like this. And that's how I plot points on a graph. Well, say I don't give you points, I give you a table. I give you a table of X values and a table of Y values. Well, this table of X and Y values is basically just a bunch of coordinate points put in the format of a table. So like this would be the point negative 3, negative 6. This would be the point negative 2, etc., etc. And I graph those on this table, negative 1, 2, 3 in the X direction, negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the Y direction. Negative 2 in the X direction, negative 2 in the Y direction. Negative 1 in the X direction, 0 in the Y direction. 0 in the X direction, 1 in the Y direction. 1, 0. 2, negative 2. 3, negative 6. So those would be each of these points in this table. If I wanted to draw a little curve over this, it's going to look something like that. Upside down U type deal. And we'll talk about more in the upcoming lessons how we identify and how we name these different types of graphs. But for now, being able to plot these points is what we're trying to assess. So, there's graphing from a table. I'll do this example for you too. If I have negative 3, negative 6, this point's going to be right here. Negative 2, negative 4. -1, -2, 0, 0, 1, 2, 2, 4, 3, 6. So that table of values would represent just a straight line going through the origin. Sorry, my line is so terrible looking. So that's how I graph from a table. Next thing that I want to address is graphing from an equation. Notice here, I don't give you any of the y values. I don't give you any of them. Instead, I give you this equation with which you will find the y values. So I have this equation. You can think of it like a machine. I'm going to put an x at one end of the conveyor belt. It's going to go through this equation, go through this machine. And on the other side, once I crunch all my numbers, once I do all my stuff, I'm going to get a y value. For example, here, if I tell you my x value is -3, I'm going to have y equals 4. And instead of x, I'm telling you that x is -3. So 4 times -3 minus 3. Well, 4 times -3 is -12. Minus 3 is -15. So this y value is -15. If I plug -2 in for x, I get 4 times -2 minus 3. So 4 times -2 is -8, minus 3 is -11. So this value right here is -11. Y equals 4 times -1 minus 3. That's -4 minus 3 is -7. Do you see a pattern emerging here? Y equals 4 times 0 minus 3. 4 times 0 is 0. Minus 3 is -3. And if I continue going, following this equation, crunching my numbers, I get 1, 5, and 9. So if I plot this on my graph, I have, some of those numbers are too big, so I have -1, -7, 0, -3, 1, 1, 2, 5, and 3, 9, somewhere up here. So that right there is my straight line through all of these points. So again, instead of giving you the x and the y coordinates, I gave you the x values, and you plug them into this equation, into this machine, and get the y values out. I didn't have to necessarily pick these x values. I could have picked 10, 11, 12, 700, 732. It didn't matter in this case. The ones I chose were -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, and 3. I got my y values out. Okay, let me do one more quick example. I'll start doing this one. So if I have this equation and I'm given these x values, that would be y equals -3 plus 4, y equals -2 plus 4, y equals -1 plus 4, negative times a -3 is a +3, plus 4 is 7, negative times a negative, +2 plus 4 is 6, negative times a negative, positive plus 4, 1 plus 4 is 5. And if I keep going here, you can pause this video and finish those off if you want to. This would be 4, 3, 2, 1. So -3, 7, -2, 6, -1, 5, 0, 4, 1, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1. That right there is your line going through all those different points that we derived using this equation. So that's what I want you to be able to understand. I hope you're able to plot points on a graph, XY coordinate points on an XY coordinate plane. I hope you're able to sketch a graph given a table of values and also sketch a graph given an equation. So there it is. Hope that made sense, and I hope that you enjoyed that as much as I did.